grab your tea. Talk time with Lady O, where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. Lady O,
Oh, well, thank you, Shelley. And don't you look beautiful as always?
thank you.
I am so excited today because we have a show that is going to be so beneficial as they always are. But this one, I'm really, really needing it for myself. You know how you have those shows that you just need for yourself? So I'm telling you right now, I need it for myself. And so let me tell you how this show came to be. We did the Daniel fast, and several of us wanted to continue with the Daniel fast, and even looking a little bit at vegan or eating, at least eating healthier, and not going back to the old way that was damaging our lives. So I started watching several shows, and one of them was What the Health. And I was sitting here one night with my grandbaby, and we were watching a movie, Hanging. And I said, what the, because I thought it was about to say something else. And I was trying to scoot on from my grandbaby. I said, what the hell? And then she said, what is that about? So I turned it on, and it's a long movie, a documentary. And I ended up watching it all the way to the end. And I was really convicted about making sure that my granddaughter got to see it as well. Because at first I said, well, what do you want to watch? You know, do you want to watch some cartoon or whatever? And she goes, whatever you want to watch. So I took that advantage of watching that with my grandbaby. And in the meantime, I thought, this is what we all need to be doing, watching this with our children to break some of those curses. The food that I gave to her father growing up, I didn't know any better. I gave him what my mom gave to me, and even something better, because I was able to give my kids lots of little treats and snacks and things. All the little things that they show on TV, I was able to give them to my kids, and did not know that I was setting them up for failure in their bodies, that I was putting in fat cells and unhealthy things that would cause them illness, and even cause myself illness. I am a colon cancer survivor, but my mom had colon cancer, and I really think it was related a lot to the food and the way. Anyway, we all decided, the whole team here decided we would watch What the Hell. Well, I convinced them to. I said, y'all need to watch this, because there was a whole bunch of shows. I just kind of got on the binge. I started watching several of them and becoming educated. So I said, well, the first thing we need to do if we're going to change our lifestyle is become educated. So I encourage them all to watch that documentary, as I encourage each of you to watch it too. I don't know these people. What they're saying in this documentary was very good. And I said, the more you talk about it and the more you become educated about it, the more you surround yourself with people who are actually doing this, that can help you along the journey, then the more likely you are to make that change. And that's what I want to do, is to encourage you to make a change to live. Eat to live, not live to eat, which is what a lot of us do a lot of times. We live to party and eat all those big, those meals that have all that grease and gravy, and the stuff from the coffee can has been sitting on there for a year or two. You know, those kind of, I'm like, how could you do that? But we did that. Now, some people still do it. Hey, throw away that coffee can, or that coffee pot, whatever it is that you put that grease can in. You know what I'm talking about, right? So listen, so we're going to talk. We're going to hear some from our team that had some comments about the show, but we also have some special guests. So I want to have my special guests come on and introduce themselves, because I'm so happy to have them, because they are actually doing the vegan meal. They've got recipes, they've got stories, and they can help us. They're real live women that have everyday lives just like we do, and they manage to make it work. So we want to know, how do you make it work? We've seen the documentaries, we've seen on the people, but we want to know, people like us, how does it work? So let me introduce my guests, and then I'm going to really let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do. But the first one is Brittany. So Brittany is here, and she's a beautiful young lady. This is Women's History Month, and we want to celebrate these ladies because they are trailblazers. So she's going to tell you about what it is she does, and we honor her today and all that she's doing. And then we also have Kayla Shea, and she's going to talk to us about her journey. And she does so many things. So I'll let them both tell what they do. And then we're going to pick their brains and figure out, how do you do it? Help us on our journey to be where you are. So Brittany, why don't you go on first and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Brittany Addison. I'm a wife and I'm a mother of two little 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I'm also the co-owner of City, which is something I started shortly after I started my plant-based journey back in 2020 when the pandemic started. At that time, I had been plant-based for already a year and a half. So that's what pushed me into starting the business and wanting to show that vegans eat good too. You don't have to eat, you don't have to give up what you like just to be plant-based. So
that's good news right there. Because what you just said is really, so helpful, because people think when you go vegan, you have to start eating stuff like cardboard that has no flavor. You don't even enjoy the meal. You just, okay, just bring it on. Let me just have this stuff so I can, nobody's going to steal something like that. So you're telling us that you got some recipes and some things that we can enjoy eating again.
Yes. Everyone thought I ate grass when I told them I went plant-based, and it's like, oh, you're eating grass. It's like, no, I'm not. But that's that's what they think. So
wonderful. Well, welcome, and we can't wait to hear about some of those recipes and things that you eat, because that's going to be really key, that we enjoy eating, and part of the enjoyment of eating is to look forward to, something that's good, not to like, here, do we have to eat now? So, okay. All right, Miss Kayla Shea, come on, tell us about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I am Kayla Shea, and I guess the short of it, I work in international business, mostly corporate oil and gas companies. And I would say, just like Brittany, I kind of got into my vegan journey during, the deep of my vegan journey in 2020 during the pandemic. Just like you, Brittany, I wear a couple of hats at home. So I can also kind of give you guys insights about transitioning and working with, even the little ones. But yeah, when it comes to being a vegan, you don't have to eat grass. There are so many substitutes and many flavors. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you guys.
Well, wonderful. Well, one of the things I know I'm going to want to ask you about, so, getting yourself, like putting that mask on yourself first, that oxygen mask on yourself first, and then putting it on your little one. How do you get your babies to eat healthy food when you've got, I want a Happy Meal, I want a cheeseburger, those kind of things. And, then for mothers, quick and easy. So why don't we start off with that? Let's just go ahead, because we've got a lot of questions. And if you have other questions and you're calling in, or you're in the chat room, if you go ahead and put those on there, we'll get to answer some of your questions as well as we go along. But how do you get, and I know I'm jumping for me, but I did this because when I had my grandbabies over, my daughter-in-law came and looked at my refrigerator. She said, what are my babies going to eat? And I'm like, I will find something for them to eat. She was like, I know you're on this vegan thing. Now remember, my kids don't like cardboard. So I did have a hard time getting them to eat something. So how do you get your babies? I noticed a couple of you said you had children.
Yeah, for me,
or is that not nutritionally a good thing?
No, it's amazing for a child to start on a vegan diet. For me, it was fairly easy. I started with smoothies. One thing about children, they love to help you in the kitchen. So my daughter's only 3, and I taught her fruits, her vegetables, and when I allow her to help me to place things inside of her own, we blend it up, she feels like she cooked already. She began to intake all those healthy flavors and understand nature. And just last night, she kind of gave me a run for my money by asking for waffles and macaroni and cheese for dinner. Wow. And I actually made macaroni and cheese, and waffles for dinner, but I fried it in some panko crumbs, and I made vegan mac and cheese with lots of flavor in it. And I also made some banana-based vegan waffles. And you don't miss it because they're always two. So it's pretty easy when you take time.
You made macaroni and cheese and she ate it?
Yeah. Yes, it's vegan macaroni and cheese. And instead of, because she wanted it with waffles, I let it cool so it can gel down. And I rolled them in panko crumbs and deep fried them.
You're saying panko crumbs?
Yes, they're a Japanese style
Japanese.
breadcrumb.
Yeah,
Okay.
I use those.
Yes.
Part of what we're going to have to learn how to do is re-educate ourselves on food. You know, we're used to going to the grocery store with a list of groceries that we typically have eaten our whole lives. So when you tell me to go to the store and get panko crumbs, I don't know what in the world you're talking about. I don't know how to use it. So, wow. So let's see, Brittany, what about your kids? Do your kids eat vegan food or what?
My kids are in between. My son is extremely picky. I can see, just like Kayla Shea said, the smoothie. He wants smoothies all the time, and I'm able to put the nutrients that he needs in those smoothies. If I let him eat apples all day, he will eat apples and bananas all day. Those are the types of things he likes to eat. But because he has such a select few, I try to introduce small things to him. And sometimes he's like, oh yes, I like it. Even vegan burgers, I started giving him vegan burgers because he wanted a burger. Sure. So I made a burger for him and he loved it. My daughter is a little easier. Everything I eat, she wants to try.
Okay.
No matter what it is I'm making, she wants to try it because she's in the kitchen. She said, and it's a lot easier for her. She still wants maybe like a nugget, but they also have supplements for that.
For that too, yeah.
They do. They show the difference.
Right. Now the chicken, I did taste the chicken substitute. It was good. Now some of the meatballs I'm having a little problem with, but that chicken was really good that I tried. So now go back to where we probably should have started from the very beginning. How did you get started on this? And I know you did a little bit. You said did you just be COVID and you were inside and you just decided to try something new? Was it a health reason? How have things changed for you? Was it just to lose weight or health, or why are you a vegan?
For me, there was a news report that wasn't published, and because of the people I know, I kind of got insight to some things that was going on at a meat warehouse, and the entire warehouse was infected, including the workers, and a lot of that product was pushed out far long before the recall. And for me, knowing that some of these items was coming to Texas and you couldn't pinpoint where things was going, the government was not being honest about the corona at the time. This was around February, March, before it started being widespread. And some just told me to, let's on all meat products because something's going on there. And I didn't look back after I did that. I felt better, so much energy, groceries a bit cheaper because I wasn't using all the processed meats and things that they have in the vegan community. And I also was able to get my daughter into it. I literally began the slow route. I took out all beef and chicken, and I would probably do pescatarian every now and again until I no longer care for those things.
This is good because this is where I got hooked, and I made our ladies watch it. What was the name of your documentary or movie, or was it on the news or something?
It was unpublished, so a colleague sent it to me, so it wasn't made public knowledge.
Okay. This is where I start with this. What the health? Okay, Brittany, what about you? Why did you start or make up your mind to become?
For me, before I became vegan, I was pescatarian for a year, so I only did seafood for a year, and I just realized I didn't like the taste of it anymore. and I decided to just start with the vegan diet. And back in 2019, it was right before Thanksgiving, I started a plant-based diet, and I realized energy. I felt a lot better because I've never been a meat person. I always liked the sides when we had family gatherings. So that's why I went pescatarian, but I just went straight to veganism when I realized that I didn't like the texture. I didn't like the taste of it anymore. It just didn't feel right. And then what pushed me, I didn't watch What the Health, but I watched Game Changers, which is also a documentary, because I was heavy. Yes, Game Changers. And I like that one was more so of athletes being plant-based, because I'm very into them. And so when I'm doing all of that, I wanted to see how I was going to be able to maintain my protein, and how these other athletes were able to do what they were doing successfully on a plant-based diet. And after watching Game Changers, I made the decision. It's like, okay, I can do this. I'm already halfway there, so I might as well just go full in.
Go full force.
Go full force.
Yeah.
And when I was transitioning, of course, it was a little difficult, especially trying to get my husband to eat it as well. So I did go do the plant-based meats that they have, because it was easier for him to get into it. With me, I can do a strictly lentils, beans, and all of that, and grains and everything. I can do that, but him into it, I started introducing the plant-based meats, and that's how.
Yeah, kind of get him transitioned in there, because some people, well, you've had meat for so long, you just feel like down to a meal without meat. I think Daniel fast really helps us, because you learn to go without the meat and without the breads for that, 28 days. And then eventually, yes, I can't eat and have a good meal without that. And I think it just becomes a part of the habit. So, okay. So you mentioned a couple of documentaries. I really want to make sure that we have some of those listed for people who are watching. And I know the other one that I watched 3 of them, and I didn't bring my notebook with me, but one of them was a Fork Over Spoon. Somebody Google that for me and find out if that's the right word. It's either to do with eating utensils. I think it's Fork Over Spoon. I think it's what it's called. But somebody look that up for me, because I got to get it right. But the other I really liked was, and I didn't write that, it's called the Sugar Daddy, or the Sugar Baby, Sugar Man. And
Sugar Man?
the Sugar Baby.
Oh, I don't know. Fork over
knives.
knives. Yeah. Forks over knives.
Fork over knives. Thank you. Fork over knives. And somebody look up the one with the sugar. And I tell you, this has been a day and a half, so I didn't get a chance to really get all of that information in my planner written down here. I thought I had it. But this one, let me tell you what, and I'll have to get that in here to you, very important. This one is about a guy who went on a diet, and on his diet, he only ate things that were low in sugar. There, you know, when you read in the grocery store, to say low fat, low sugar, low calorie, all of those kind of things. But then he showed us how they've hidden the sugars. Goes back to what, you know, Kayla Shea said, that there are things that are hidden from you. And why do they hide this stuff from you? Except for they feel like if they don't hide it, you won't be tricked into eating it. So long story short, this particular guy went on a diet for, I think it was 3 weeks. And he ate this diet that had all of the low calorie things on it. And when he did that, he showed you how to count the sugar, the teaspoons of sugar. Like for instance, does anybody know how many teaspoons of sugar are in a low calorie drink, like a diet Coke? Anybody know how many tablespoons are in a thing of what do you call it? It's like low calorie cereal that they have, that they're saying it's low calorie, but it's really not. They're hidden
sugar. Yeah, there's a lot of sugar in so.
Yeah, a lot. And so when we were on the vegan diet, we went and bought this box of cereal that was probably low calorie and grains and nuts and things like that, and had a lot of sugar in it. So at the end of the day, he showed us how by eating low calorie things, the yogurt, low calorie yogurt, and all those kind of things, that there's hidden sugars in there, and you wonder why you lose weight. And the reason why you cannot lose weight is because there's hidden sugars and hidden fats. I thought that olive oil was low in fat, and it's the number one fat that I'm eating because I'm doing the bread. I'm thinking olive oil is good for you. Well, it's fat, and fat is fat. So let's go back to our guest, or you can, guys, you can jump in here of anything that you learned by watching the movie that we talked about.
The thing I did want to say, Lady O, the one thing that we can't get caught up in is looking at the mark selling to you. You have to look at the ingredients, and you also have to look at the nutrition label. It tells you how much sugar. Like say you're eating like Gatorade, for instance.
Right.
I forget how much sugar is in Gatorade. I believe it's like maybe 26 grams of sugar. And I think that translates to between 10 to 14 teaspoons. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. But you have to look at the back. You have to look at the nutrition
Ingredients,
and the ingredients.
And you have to learn how to read it.
Yeah, you have to learn how to read it.
They know you don't know how to read it. So they'll say no sugar, but then you look down there and there's fructose and other things that are called sugars, but they don't call it sugar.
Right. Sorbitol, erythritol. Yeah, it's a lot of different names. Sucralose and then, NutraSweet.
Those all mean sugar. But it'll say no sugar added.
Right. You have to read. You can't just look at the package. You have to look at what's in.
It depends on you just to look at the packaging and the marketing and what they say and believe what they say.
Right.
So so anybody else want to have a comment on that?
I would. Something that's also important to realize, all fat isn't created equal. All sugars aren't created equal. God developed our fruits and vegetables. So those natural sugars interact with our bodies a lot different from the ones that's been bleached and processed and bone char and all the chemical processes that they put through certain types of sugar. So it's going to affect your body a little different. And you can tell that difference when you drink something that's artificial versus something that's like, robust and whole. So I would definitely say yes. There are a lot of oils and, food that we eat that are high in sugar, but also realize that a lot of those are not equal. And sugar from a banana or the sugar from an apple will interact with you a lot from the sugar of a Tootsie Roll or from a Twinkie. They're both sweet. They have, similar weight as far as grams is concerned, but it's definitely not going to hit your body the same.
And I was going to say, piggyback off of that with the fats as well, because there's bad fats, so it depends on what type of fat that you're consuming. Because avocado is considered a fat. A certain amount of olive oil is still good for you because you still need a certain amount of fat within your diet in order to achieve certain nutritional goals that you're trying to reach as well.
Those are all really good, guys. They are so, and that's why there's so much that when you all are talking about this, I'm just thinking things in my brain that I learned over these months that it's hard to kind of pull them all together to condense them in what we want to really say. And I guess what we're saying is what you just said, all fruits are not the same. All sugars are not the same. And one of the big things I know that people make a mistake of is the smoothies. They put, say, a banana in the smoothies, and they put peaches and pineapples and what other kind is high sugar? I just know that the berries are low sugar and all the other fruits are high sugar. You don't want to put probably raspberries and blueberries and those kind of things in your smoothie. Taste is good. You want to put what? The pineapple, the peaches, the mangoes, the watermelon, and of course the banana. Banana goes in each one of them. And bananas is one of the highest fats. Y'all want to talk about that? Because I'm new at they were saying bananas are really high, especially if you're diabetic too.
So for
Yeah.
the fruit, for the smoothies,
Go ahead.
I try to find a good balance between the fruit, and I put a lot of spinach in it or kale. So also try to balance that out with the green. So you can add those fruits, but I put a whole bunch of spinach, or it may not be a pretty color, but it's good.
Yeah, it's gonna taste good.
It's gonna taste good. So it's just trying to find a proper balance with those.
Right.
But you can
That's
still
good.
have those. It's how much you're putting into it.
And that's
Right.
really
I
good because
agree.
a lot of people don't put any green stuff in their smoothie. They just want a fruit smoothie. Okay. Kayla, you want to say something about that? The smoothies?
Sure. And for me, the same as far as adding loads of spinach, but like the example I gave earlier regarding my daughter, most of her smoothies, they're all green, like super, super, super green. I add kale, I add green apples, and I sneak all of that fiber and the different sources of vitamins into her smoothies. But she wouldn't eat a plate of spinach, but she definitely like drink down that smoothie. And when we say balance, sometimes you can add a cup and a half of smoothie with just like maybe a third of a banana, sweeten your whole drink.
Because bananas are so sweet. With the they have the berries are low glycemic. They don't have, like you were saying, Lady O, a lot of sugar, but the other ones are high glycemic, like you were about. So
the better ones are the berries. Anything that's red or purple berries, but not grapes. Now, see, I learned all this from diabetic. Grapes are really bad for you because they're really rich in sugar. Pineapples are really bad for you because they're high in sugar. And that sugar that's in there, I mean, it's so sweet. So if you want to sweeten something, a couple of pieces of pineapple in there, or a couple of grapes, but don't put all of them. I usually sweeten apple, which apples are very sweet too. But they're a different kind of sweet than banana. They're better. So, okay, something we could do for breakfast or a snack or something like that. What would you do for a lunch? Give me a vegan meal. What would a vegan meal look like for the day? Who wants to go first? Nobody's okay. Brittany, you gotta go first.
I was gonna jump in, but I know you want to jump in, Brittany?
I can do it. It's different. It depends on what you have a taste for. It can be a pasta dish. It can be a wrap. I had a taste for chicken salad. Instead of using chicken, I use. So but it's made the same way. Oh my goodness, it's a variety of lunches that we do over here.
What's your like go-to? I used to have, when I had kids at home, it was a go-to meal. If we had to go to football practice and band practice or whatever, I had my go-to. I could just put it together real fast and they liked it. Do you have a go-to breakfast or lunch or dinner?
Well, my go-to lunch, or what I make for dinner, we normally have for lunch the next day, or I will make red beans and rice.
Okay.
Make red beans and rice, just the same way you normally make it, sometimes with the plant-based meat, or sometimes without, depending on the mood I'm in.
So how do you spice it? Season red beans and rice, because we know what red beans and rice has in it and how it tastes before COVID and before veganism. How do you season? What kind of seasoning do you use?
The regular seasons that you use. So I use my Tony's, my Old Bay, my garlic powder, my bay leaves. They have you can use veggie stock or the non-chicken stock that has more of a flavor to it. Instead of using water, what else do I use?
That's a good idea too, to use the veggie stock. Because sometimes stuff is so watery that you got to put a whole lot of seasoning in it, salt and that kind of things. And then you got another issue. You got your beans, but you got a lot of sodium in there when you put too much salt. And you wanted to make them healthy. The rice already kind of starchy, and this is starchy. And one of the things that I noticed about some people that are vegan, they're overweight. And I'm saying, how can a vegan be overweight? And they said, eating too much beans and rice and carbs like that. They're not meat and they are plant-based, but they're still very high in carbs. And that be something.
Well, I would say when it comes to vegans that are, I get overweight, it's not necessarily their carbs, but just like any diet, you can have a healthy carnivore, and then you can have an unhealthy carnivore. You know, in each diet, it doesn't matter, you know, what you're eating. Proportion matters. What you're eating, because I can eat the same thing and someone else can eat the same thing, but depending on what time of day we eat it. Let's say you eat your big meal at nighttime and then you go right to bed, but I eat mine in the morning and I work out throughout the day. Our body is going to process that different because you just fueled yourself with energy that you're not burning off. So
You know, sleep on it, it's going to sleep in it.
Right. One person can eat vegan carbs and their body reacts totally different. So I think it's not necessarily the fact that they're vegan that, you know, automatically lose pounds. I think you still have to be mindful of your intake.
That's good. That's good. So you're saying portions, first of all, we got to get rid of these big plates and get a little plate like a saucer would be enough. You'd be surprised at how much you don't have to eat. Let me tell you something that Bishop has started doing, and he didn't even know he was doing it. He did it last night and today. But we would order something from the restaurant, and he said, I can only eat half of this. Now, this is a man talking about a big plate of food that we eat for Thanksgiving, but it's a plate of food, which is really not that much, you know, and taking half of it and putting it aside for lunch the next day. And so eating a half a portion, say that would be one of the first things that you could do, especially if you're vegan, or if you're wanting to lose weight, and if you're wanting to get healthy, is eat half of what you typically eat, half of what you eat for dinner for sure, because it sits there and you realize, I didn't really even need all of that. And that's what he said to me today. He said, you know what? He said, I'm liking the way we're eating now. He said, and we really don't need that much. We don't need a whole, like at Lubitsch, you get that piece of fish. Half of that is enough. And a man would be like, well, I need 2 pieces. No, you don't. Half a piece is enough. And so that's something, the portion is going to be different, whether you go vegan or whatever you're going, portion and the time of the day. Do you all have a certain time of the day that you cut off your eating?
I don't have a certain time of day that I cut off my eating, but I'll give you an example, Lady O, because what you just stated was like, you know, cutting a portion size. I also think it's important to understand what it is you're eating. For instance, I'll give you an example because I know Brittany gave the example about what she eats for lunch. Today, I ate a bowl of sweet kale salad, but my salad was about this big.
Wow.
But in the salad, there's nothing but veggies, and the sweetest thing in there was probably like dried cranberries. I had some pumpkin seeds, but all of that with like a poppy seed vinaigrette that I made.
Yeah.
I burnt that off just by sitting at my desk. Within like 2 hours, you're hungry again. But you know, I wouldn't have to cut that in half because of what it was I was eating. But let's say I decide to go and get an Impossible burger, a vegan style patty, and I put all the fixings. I put my vegan cheese, my vegan bacon, my vegan mayo. I mean, there's substitutes for everything. And then I pack on some deep fried onion rings. I'm not gonna need to eat that whole thing.
Oh my goodness, no! Yeah. You're making me really kind of heavy just listening to you talking about that.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So I get it. You're absolutely right. And so the salads that you get, that greens right into your cells. And this is another thing too, that when I had colon cancer, I went and researched a lot about how to heal myself. And one of the things that I remember was learning that the thing that happens with people when they get cancer is that their cells get unhealthy. And so you need to get some help to heal your cells. How do you get that health? You have to get it from other cells. So plants have cells in them that can really feed and get inside the cells to make them healthy. The mitochondria, I don't even know all the words now. I used to know all the different terms, but y'all know what I'm talking about? So when you eat a bowl of greens like that, that's going into your cellular system to make it healthy. And so your body's just soaking it up and loving it. But when you eat grease and gravy and carbs and fried and that kind, your body can't process that. So what does it do? It makes fat cells and it just sits there. And I've forgotten how long it takes to process it, but it takes a long time to process it. And so it just stores it up as fat.
And one more thing
about that.
Lady O, I also wanted to make sure, since you said we're going to do it like we're talking lady to the ladies. I don't want people to think they're only able to eat a big bowl of salad. We still make things like collard greens, mustard greens, and we season it a little bit different, but those are also things that you can use to help build your cells. So I just wanted to make sure I say that.
I'm glad you said that, because you're right. Because sometimes when I'm thinking about eating, I told my husband, do not bring me a salad home. Like, can I just don't bring a salad, okay?
I don't want to eat a salad. Some days you're not in the mood for a salad.
Exactly. And then sometimes, let me tell you what I do sometimes too. I will, and I do this all the time, and I like it. I like to eat raw celery for breakfast. Raw celery.
Celery is so healthy. You can sit and you can put it in a smoothie.
Yeah.
It's good
The thing that got me with the juicing was all of that fiber was going off, and I was throwing it in the trash can.
Yeah.
I was thinking I need fiber too.
Yeah.
I eat the whole thing, the juice and the fiber.
Yeah, but
also,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, one day I was thinking, what's the difference between juicing and blending, making a smoothie? And like you said, when you juice, all the fiber is taken out, but then you get all the minerals and the nutrients. It gets into your system quicker with the juicing. Yeah,
that's true.
So you can do both. I think you can balance both of them out.
Well, I think what you said is absolutely right. And when I was juicing, when I had the cancer, they had just carrot juice, and you'd have to drink it right away because you wanted to get in your cells right. You have some kind of a thing that you're dealing with. I would say yes, juice it. I used to juice the wheatgrass too and get that in your system right away, because it feeds your cells, goes right in there. You can feel it in your body. But I also learned too, weight, you want to have it to work. And so to burn off some calories, you need to have that fiber going inside. When it goes into your cells, straight in there, but it does not do anything that's natural, what your body is naturally made to chew up stuff, and for your insides to break it down and put it in certain ways in certain times. And you can lose weight like that by eating the fiber. And then a lot of people take fiber all in with colon cancer. I need the fiber, and the fiber is like a washing rag inside your body. It washes your insides out. So if you're just doing the juice, you're still not getting the cleansing out. So both of them are good. I don't know, Brittany, or y'all have any, Kayla, y'all have anything to say about that?
I haven't gotten to juicing. That's my next step, is to create juices because I know a lot of juices are great for immunity and all kinds of things. So that's my next step, is to start juicing. I haven't done it in a while, so I'm gonna start back juicing just so I can get those nutrients in my body, and it's just to help make sure we're healthy.
Okay, so say we're ready to start. What kind of things do you need to start to become a vegan? Is there a quick grocery list, certain things that you must have that you could say, you could tell some heads up on, okay, you want to be vegan, this is how you what you need to buy, what you need to have, those kind of things?
It all depends on what you like, what you already like. I'm a big pasta person, so of course I have to have pasta, I have to have rice or potatoes, some type of potatoes, and also I have to have kale in the house. I have to have some leafy vegetable in the house at all times. But it just
is your pasta wheat pasta, or does it matter?
Either way, you have to read the package. Sometimes I use the chickpea pasta. Sometimes I just use the regular pasta that I read and make sure there's no anything that's not plant-based.
MSG or what? I've forgotten what else was in the pasta, but the chickpea pasta, I don't think I've tasted.
Do you like it, Brittany? The
I
chickpea
do.
pasta?
Is it Banza in the orange box?
Mm-hmm. I tried it, but I didn't. The flavor, I think it would have to grow on me. I didn't necessarily like it, but I think
cook it a
maybe.
little longer than they tell me to, just for the texture, because I'm and so I cooked it a little bit longer, and I just did my normal sauces that I would do, and
Okay.
What about the vegetable pasta?
I haven't tried that one yet.
I've had vegetable pasta. It's
good.
okay.
I love it.
It's not bad. In regards to someone starting a vegan diet, to me, the best way to do so is to you already eat. The easy way to transition into this lifestyle, because that's what it is to get it as close to your right now lifestyle so that the transition can be easier for you. So for instance, if you guys eat spaghetti, let's say you have spaghetti night, on meatless Mondays, instead of using ground beef, my suggestion would be to go to the grocery, maybe get like a carton of Bella mushrooms, and you can chop the bottom portions off, put the whole mushroom into your food processor, and you can use that chopped mushroom just like you would ground beef. Season it just like you do your ground beef, and make sure it gets a little texture on it. And even if you wanted to use vegan meat, vegan ground beef, to add that versus what you normally add in your spaghetti, which is the beef, that's an easy transition to have a meatless Monday, you know?
Okay, let's get a little recipe here, because that's what my grandbaby loves when she comes over here. So if I want to do these mushrooms, I'm going to chop them up in a blender. And then what about the sauce? What else do I put in this meatless, this mushroom with the spaghetti?
So for me, I like to use this steak seasoning called Tex Joy. Sometimes when I'm using my mushrooms for a beef substitute, or you can use your favorite Creole seasoning, or use the basics where you, one of the things I definitely use when I do spaghetti, I definitely put turmeric in there. I put
Okay, like a teaspoon of turmeric or something like that?
Yeah, it gives it a little spice. And I also add a can of Rotel into my tomato sauce.
Rotel sauce.
Yeah.
Because that will give your pasta a little twang. I also build my meat sauce first and make it a little thick so that those flavors can develop. One of the things that vegans tend to use is something called now it's losing me, but it's not Worcestershire sauce, but it's
amino.
Yeah, liquid aminos.
Yeah.
I'll add like a little bit of liquid aminos into my mushroom, and then I also like to use onion salt, garlic powder, salt and pepper. And if you let that cook together until it gels, where it doesn't give you that, if you do use canned, I don't use canned goods. I use jar tomatoes. And if you let that, package cook out, you won't be disappointed.
Wow.
Whether you use mushrooms or if you use, Beyond
like
Beef
crumbles.
or I don't use crumbles. I'm not a fan of those. I do either Impossible meat or I use Beyond Meat.
Yeah. And for me, I'm not a big mushroom person. I've never liked mushrooms, and that was my challenge. I don't like mushrooms, and I'm allergic to coconut, so it was a little bit more challenging for me. Okay. So when I do I use Impossible because Beyond uses too much coconut in it, and I have a allergic reaction to it. So you have to be mindful.
Yes, know what's in your food.
Yes. I towards the Impossible side if I'm going to use a meat substitute, and I put that in my spaghetti, and no one can tell the difference. That Rotel makes a difference, and I don't like tomatoes either. I'm just a weird, but I don't like tomatoes and I don't like mushrooms. But I can use sauce and to dial back for my spaghetti. I don't use as much tomato sauce, but I do use the Rotel. because as long as it doesn't taste like tomatoes, I'm fine.
So your spaghetti doesn't look like spaghetti?
It's more of I call it pasta, because normally it's just really saucy. But I usually make a pasta dish with a red sauce, and then the noodles pretty much soak up the sauce when we mix it, put it all together. Because I'm not a big fan of that saucy tomato.
Okay, good. That's good. So, because spaghetti is the one that my grandkids look for, and they want it to look like spaghetti too. Okay, so cheese, because they want cheese on their broccoli.
They have vegan cheeses.
What? I don't know what kinds do you put on your food?
If I'm not making it myself, I would Violife is my favorite, or Follow Your Heart. Those two are favorite. Violife, yes. And Follow Your Hearts, because they don't have that weird aftertaste to them, in my opinion.
I use Phil Rose Child, and I also use.
Can you spell that?
As well.
Wait a minute, spell that child.
It's Child. It's CHAO.
You into this?
And that's by Phil Rose.
I've made vegan nachos, and they're very good. So I used cashews. I soaked the cashews, and then I ground the cashews up, and then added the nutritional yeast. And what else did I put in there? Garlic powder, onion powder. I think I added turmeric. I believe I did, if I'm not mistaken. And it's very good. It was very good. And I did the same thing for Thanksgiving to make vegan macaroni and cheese. We did it the same way. We just didn't use the cheese. We made the vegan cheese.
Well, we're gonna talk about macaroni and cheese recipes. I didn't get you said Child for the cheese. The other one you said.
I also use Violife.
Vitalife.
And then you can make your own.
Victory.
Victory. Vialife. Violife. Now, are these in the frozen section or the dairy section, or where you find this food?
Depending on the store you go to, some grocery stores like HEB, they may put it in their deli area. Kroger's, they mix their stuff, and most of the time you can't find it in the produce area. They put most of the substitutes in the produce area, like the vegan sausages, the vegan tofu, and things like that. Egg roll wrap.
Yeah. I can't find it. And that's why I was like, where do you find this stuff at? Because I'm trying to get a good list of a shopping list. The vegan cheese was good too, says Shelley. Is that the name of it? Vegan cheese?
No, I was just saying Tisha was she was remarking, she made a comment. So I was saying the vegan cheese was good. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, before we go, I want to get the cheese, macaroni and cheese recipe, so we can kind of show how, because everybody loves make macaroni and cheese for Thanksgiving. My kids love it. I make it the old-fashioned fattening way. It's the only way I know to make it, but I would like to try something different on them before Thanksgiving, so I can keep a family traditional meal, but make it healthy. So let's can we go ahead and do that now, and then we'll have our closing comments of whatever guys you want to tell us before we close out. How do you make vegan macaroni and cheese? Let's just kind of get this down here.
I'm gonna let Leslie give you the recipe, because my recipe is actually part of my menu. I want to get that out.
You know what? Okay, we got 10 minutes. Let me go to the business part of it.
Yeah.
Tell me about your business. Thank you for reminding me. I was thinking it was 10 minutes. I wanted to do that at the very end. So we're not going to even have your vegan for you to tell us if you would. So what we're going to do now is talk about your business, what you have to offer, as we are honoring women this month. Brittany, tell us about what your truck. I think you just got a new truck.
Yes. We just purchased our first food truck. We're in the process of getting ready to launch, but we have been doing pop-ups around Houston for the past 2 years. And my take on vegan is the vegan comfort food, because a lot of people, when I decided to become vegan, they were wondering, what do you eat? What if you miss this? So my thing is showing them that you can still have these comfort foods when you have the craving for them, and have them. So we have the first thing we sold was our meatless loaf, which is
meatloaf.
It's just my mother's meatloaf recipe that I grew up with, and I just made it vegan with our mac and cheese. And that's one of the favorites. We always sell out of that. We have our smoked queso burger, which is just the regular cake, like you would make queso, and we top it on our Impossible patty.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's
That
one of
does
our
sound
favorites.
good, doesn't it? So do you have like a website or
I do.
information? Give us your information.
The name of the company is Mo City Vegan, like in Missouri City, Mo City.
Okay.
Vegan. We're revamping the website. The website is going, as I'm redoing it, since we now have our truck, so it's now going to feature our food truck menu, but it currently has our old menu on it.
Okay.
And we're going to have our chicken sandwiches on there. We're going to do vegan shrimp baskets as well.
Oh, wow.
So your pop-up, you come to if somebody wanted to have vegan food at their event, you can bring your truck there. Is that what that pop-up means?
Well, the pop-up was before we had the truck. So there were different events around Houston where it was Black owned, and they were showcasing what they made or what their skills were, what they were selling, what their merchandise was. Okay. And we went to the pop-ups. I would make all the food and I'd take it to the pop-ups, and we would sell at the pop-ups, which was at different locations. Okay. But so now,
how can people get in touch with you to have you come to their event?
Sure. You on Instagram, mostly. You can find me there. Send a message and we'll reply. Also on the website, there's a contact mocityvegan.com. You can do the contact page on there.
Perfect. So we put in Mosin, you're gonna come up, and all the contact information will be there. We want to encourage everybody. I'm sure we all have different events coming up, whether it's church or sororities or just our neighborhood barbecue. Will be vegan, so we can have truck will travel wherever, huh?
Yes.
Well, great. Okay, let's see. I want to congratulate you on your new business, on your new truck, and we're going to have you over to the church when we have our women's meetings on a Saturday, or either the women's conference or something. We'll have to look at all of those and see how we can get you out, because I really always want to promote women and businesses. And so I thank you for that and your accomplishments as a wonderful Black woman who's doing it. All right, Miss Kayla Shea, tell us about what you do with your food, or do you sell, or do you have a company?
So I'm actually in development phase for not a food truck where I eat the food, but more so where I'm teaching recipes in a community, and that's called The Fields. That's ThePheelz, and that's in the development phase. If people wanted to connect and get more insights on vegan diets, they can contact me IG at Dr. Kayla Shea. So we're still in development as far as the vegan journey, what I'll be putting out to the public.
Okay, so the Fields, is that right? The Fields? Or the Pills? How did you pronounce it?
The Fields. It's a play on the F with the PH.
Right, that's what I feel. That's why I was making say it right. Okay, and so especially is in recipes and helping people learn how, or giving maybe like cooking lessons, or if somebody wanted to have you for a particular event they're having, you could put on some cooking classes or recipes.
Yeah, for sure.
Very good. Well, that is wonderful. And do you have a number or?
For the Fields, that also has an IG. So that's at the.PHEELZ.
Okay, very good, very good. All right. Well, we that is really good. I want to just commend you too. I mean, I know you had another company on here. I was going to say I need to call and check with you with. Did you not say too that you also have a business where you do so many things too? You are helping people develop
That businesses. Yeah, outside of the food thing, I actually do work with startup businesses, and I also work in business entrepreneurial structures with strategies and things like that. So
That's nice.
Okay. Well, I may have to call you for something else then, because we're talking about food today, but you do so
Different
many great
topic.
things. Anybody have a question or a comment? I noticed Flair, you hadn't talked at all, and Deborah, did y'all have anything?
I just want to ask one thing, quickly. The milk. I know in the video that we watched, we talked about the milk, how bad the milk and stuff was and everything. But I started drinking the cashew milk. Are better than drinking the whole milk or anything.
the short of that is yes, for sure. I also do cashew milk, soy milk person. I do cashew milk, and I also do
Here, almond milk, cashew. I even try oat milk sometimes, depending on.
Very good.
Coconut milk is
Rose they
more
showed
fatty.
on the
It's a
video.
lot.
I can't do coconut.
I like it. It's really thick. It's good, but
I
it's
like coconut milk.
you know,
I heard it wasn't good for you. Some of
It's fatty.
the coconut milk was not good for you. Coconut oil was not good for you. I don't know.
well, yeah, it's because of the fat content. But again, it's
In moderation and what's best for you, because even with the greens, with some people that have kidney stones, the kale and some of the dark green vegetables, too much of it can bother your kidneys and things like that. So you have to own body,
right,
and what's best.
right.
Miss Tara, you asked here today for us. Do you have any questions you want to ask?
Well, one question there, because I've tried the vegan cheese. That cheese that I've had did not melt. So how are you melting this cheese? For the macaroni and cheese.
Miss Deborah. Just keep it real. That cheese will not melt.
You know your recipe, right? When you ask macaroni cheese, or you think about a grilled cheese, there's certain ways you have to use your vegan cheese. So most vegan cheese needs to be cut. It cannot be in the open air like a milk cheese, because you need that steam to help the process of melting. As far as putting things in things like mac and cheese, I tend to mix my mac and cheese. So my mac and cheese may have blended blended butter, squash and potato. And then I'll also add the other cheeses, the vegan cheeses to it. And once you put that unsweetened almond milk in there and you allow the heat to it brings out a whole different flavor, including spices. But as far as like things like a grilled cheese, you have to, because it doesn't have the fat of milk. It's a plant-based cheese, so it needs that dome effect for
the moisture.
Milk.
Right. Very good. Any other question that anybody or comment that anybody else wanted to before I
okay. Just thank you all for coming with your insight.
Yeah, we really do. And also don't forget, this was a short, so much we could talk about. I mean, but we try to give you some things here to take away. But I think the main thing I would say is go back and watch the video. Also, you want to use these ladies' businesses and promote them, send them, thanks and use their services, because they're doing some great work here that we are not doing, that we're trying to learn. So we want to definitely encourage them and thank them. But also go back and watch the video. And like I said, I don't have any investment in there. I just know that I am very much invested in helping other women. When I know something, I want to share it. So I feel like I've learned some things that would help me live a better life, live longer, and also to pass on to my children. And I'd like to share that with you. And that's share that will be interesting too. If you just Google, get off of some of your traditional things that you're watching and Google healthy documentaries, you know, about the truth about me. These things will come, the truth about sugar, those things will come on, and you have to invest in yourself, okay? And if you invest in yourself, you're gonna feel better, look better, and you'll have a healthy life and a long, healthy legacy. Pass it on to your children. Well, listen, my time's up. I wish I could talk more, but I want to thank my guest again and thank each of you for coming to Tea Talk with Lady O. It's been wonderful. We'll see you next.